Right, now it's time to make these little pegs. 4 of them, and I'm going to take 2 out of each blank. Ben has just found this mahogany downstairs for me, and all I've done is just taken a cross in pencil to find the centre of it, drilled a little hole on both ends, and then I should put the blank into here and then start turning. But what I've got to do is make a cylinder out of the square to start with, and then once I've got it down to that diameter, then I can start paring the timber back and getting it down to that shape. So it's going to be quite difficult to be talking whilst I'm doing this, but there's a few safety things that you must do while you're turning on a lathe. One is have elasticated cuffs. Second one is have, whether it's glasses or safety glasses, you must have something on, because the chips go everywhere, normally finding your face. So what you do is you put your blank in, and on this end of the lathe it's got 3 prongs which help grip it when the timber's turning. So just tap that in, locate the centre of the pin on that, and then you've got that turning. So now just use a roughing out gauge, or gouge I should say, and get cracking. Turn the electric on. Getting covered, dude. See, that's now down to a cylinder. Nowhere near the size of that yet, but what I shall do is these are just cheap calipers, but I'll take that's my widest point, and then all I'll do is just keep checking that against that until it's the right size. Right, now we've got the cylinder to the overall size of that, where the actual pull part of it. So all I'm going to do now is mark off where I need the 2 to be. So I'm going to go there and there, and I'm going to have a gap, and I'm going to go there to there, but that point there is where I'm going to be radiusing off down to the bottom, and the same as just there. So I should be able to see those marks when the lathe's turning. But not well enough. What I do then is, because that bit is a void, I fill that in like that. So I know that's nothing other than the point at where I'm going to be parting it off. And the same there. And that's it. Same there, actually. So that's the item there and there. Got to be a bit careful here, because the more meat you take out of the timber, the more whip you get. It starts to do this between the centres, so I've got to be a bit careful. So I'm now going to mark on here where I'm going to actually drop in with the gouge, just here. I'm what you call a wood turner that can get by for the items I've got to make. But I'm not a wood turner that does it for a living, as in all the time. So you might learn a little bit from what I'm doing, but I'm absolutely no expert at all. I don't know if you remember me saying that I felt that these were a little bit baggy in the holes over there on the box. Well, I think what I'm going to do is make them so that they're less of a taper and more of a dowel, ever so slight taper, but nothing like as serious as this. So now I'm going to try and get that neck just there down below where I've just turned here, and then feather it off. Now each depth that I take out of this, each additional bit of timber that I take out, makes it more and more difficult to do it in two, because of the whip as it's spinning and you're pressing a blade against it. It's actually pushing the timber away from you, and it can snap at these lower points just here. I've chosen to do it in between centres rather than in the end of a chuck, and I'm beginning to regret it now, but I'll stick with it. And we can always speed this up a bit on the camera, because I'm just not taking much timber off at each pass. Now, as you can see, that is kind of what I'm after. So I'll part them off just there, part it off just there, and then go over to the faceplate sander and just true up the domes on the top here, and they will be the first two. So fingers crossed they fit. They should do. They should fit because they go on there okay and slide up and tighten up on the cone at the top. So that should fit. I'll get these cut off on the bandsaw and then I'll go over and see at the bench where we can see if they fit. Right, I've just cut these down on the bandsaw so that all the bits that went with them are there, and these are the two pegs from that blank that we've just turned. Now that they should be about right. But all the holes were different, so what you see is what I'm going to see. So can you hear that noise? That's what I want to hear. I want it to be able to push in and stay in. And the same on this side. What I've done is a taper. Instead of it just being a flat taper, I've done a graduated taper. So as you push it in, it tightens up. There, like that. So there's two of the dowels. Not dowels, the pegs. How tight, Janet. Right. Okay, let's go to the next stage now. This is rushing it a little bit, but I quite like that brand of stain. It's always been good to me. I don't use it all the time for everything. I like to use Van Dyke Brown and warm water with various additives to get other colours, especially on oak furniture. But when you're doing little bits and bats like this, I like to use this. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to stain the whole thing. This is Georgian mahogany stain, and it's a good start. Victorian mahogany stain is a little bit too red, and if you're wanting something to match up to an older mahogany like that, you're better off starting with a Georgian colour than a Victorian. Victorian mahogany colours are very, very stark. Now I stain the whole thing, but I don't polish the whole thing. So that's like that. Same with this one. Obviously I've got to do the same with the other two when I've got them off the lathe. So leave them like that. And if I bring the clock back, you'll see that they're not a million miles out. To me they're a little bit dark, but you know what I was saying to you about when you've got to understand what the finished colour is that you're going to be looking for. So you have to choose your wood obviously that you're going to use, but then we want to be at this finish. So I know that Georgian mahogany out of that tin will be a good start to get me to this colour when I've put best button polish on the top of it. But of course then that's going to look like the front face, and I don't want it to look like the front face. I want it to look grubby and horrible like the back. So that's where we start to do a bit of an aging process. I'll let them go off first go and get on with the other 2 turn-ins, bring them back, get them all to the same stage, and then pop them in and age them. So I'll see you in a bit. Thanks for watching, I appreciate it. I hope you're enjoying it. I certainly am, but just remember, it's not for me, it's for MND. Thank you.